You think you know who your friends are. You've known them for years. You shared meals, secrets, moments of vulnerability. You trust them. And that trust, that comfort, that assumption of loyalty is the crack in your armor through which the blade will eventually slide. Let me tell you something that Niccolo Machiavelli understood 5 centuries ago. Something most people will never accept. The people closest to you are not necessarily on your side. Proximity does not equal loyalty. Time does not equal trust. And the person who knows your weaknesses best is the person most capable of destroying you. Not your competitor across the table, not the stranger who dislikes you, the person sitting next to you, the one you let in. We are going to strip away the fairy tale. We are going to perform surgery on the concept of friendship itself. Because what you call friendship, what you've been taught to call friendship, is often something far more transactional, far more conditional, and far more dangerous than you realize. Most people stumble through life collecting what they think are friends. They accumulate names, faces, people they laugh with, people they confide in. And then one day, without warning, they find themselves betrayed, blindsided, destroyed by someone they never saw coming. And they ask themselves the wrong question. They ask, "What did I do to deserve this?" The Machiavellian asks a different question. What signs did I ignore? What patterns did I fail to see? How did I allow this person access to my inner world without properly vetting their intentions? Because here is the cold truth. Betrayal is never random. It is always preceded by signals. Small, subtle, easily dismissed signals that your brain chose to ignore because you wanted to believe in the goodness of people. You wanted to believe that loyalty is the default setting of human relationships. It is not. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. He did not say some men. He did not say evil men. He said men, humanity. This is not pessimism. This is pattern recognition. This is 500 years of human behavior distilled into a single observation. People act in their own interest. Always. Even when it looks like altruism, even when it feels like love, there is a calculation happening beneath the surface. Am I getting what I need from this relationship? Does this person elevate me or diminish me? Does their success make me feel smaller? And when the answer to that last question is yes, when your rise triggers their insecurity, that is when the mask begins to crack. That is when the friend becomes the threat. But most people do not see it. They see the smile. They hear the congratulations. They miss the coldness in the eyes, the slight delay before the laughter, the way the conversation shifts just a little too quickly away from your victory and back to them. These are not accidents. These are symptoms. And if you learn to read them, you will never be blindsided again. Let's start with the fundamental error most people make. They assume that friendship is defined by affection. If someone is warm to you, if they laugh at your jokes, if they spend time with you, they must be your friend. Wrong. Affection is cheap. Affection is performable. A con artist can make you feel loved. A parasite can make you feel needed. What defines a real ally, what separates the genuine from the fraudulent, is not how they make you feel. It is how they behave when your interests conflict with theirs. Think about it. Anyone can be supportive when supporting you costs them nothing. Anyone can celebrate your small wins when those wins do not threaten their position. But what happens when you get the promotion they wanted? What happens when you succeed in the area where they have failed? What happens when your happiness, your growth, your progress requires them to confront their own stagnation? That is the moment of truth. That is when you see who they really are. Machiavelli understood that people reveal themselves under pressure. He observed the courts of Renaissance Italy, where alliances shifted like sand, where yesterday's ally became today's assassin. He saw that the people who smiled the widest often held the sharpest knives. And he learned to watch not what people said, but what they did when they thought no one was looking. This is the skill you must develop, the ability to see beyond the performance, the ability to detect the micro-expressions, the inconsistencies, the small betrayals that precede the large ones. Let me give you a framework. There are 3 types of fake friends. 3 archetypes that appear again and again throughout history, throughout literature, throughout your own life if you look closely enough. Learn to recognize them and you will save yourself years of pain. The first archetype is the flatterer. This is the person who agrees with everything you say. They laugh at jokes that are not funny. They praise ideas that are half-formed. They tell you that you are right even when you are clearly wrong. This feels good. It feels like validation. It feels like someone finally sees your value. But Machiavelli despised flatterers. He dedicated an entire chapter of The Prince to warning rulers about them. Because flattery is not support. Flattery is a drug. It numbs your critical thinking. It inflates your ego to the point where you stop questioning yourself. And when you stop questioning yourself, you become easy to manipulate. The flatterer does not care about your success. They care about access. They care about staying in your good graces so they can benefit from your position, your resources, your network. They are buying influence with compliments, and the price you pay is your judgment. Because when everyone around you is telling you that you are brilliant, you stop doing the hard work of actually becoming brilliant. You stop listening to criticism, you stop improving, and eventually you fail. And when you fail, the flatterer disappears. Because they were never loyal to you. They were loyal to what you could do for them. Watch for the person who never disagrees. Watch for the person whose enthusiasm feels just slightly too intense. Watch for the person who praises you in ways that feel unearned. They are not your friend. They are an investor. And the moment your stock drops, they will sell. The second archetype is the crisis magnet. This is the person who is always in trouble, always in drama, always needing your help. Their car broke down. Their relationship is falling apart. Their boss is unfair. Their family does not understand them. And you, because you are kind, because you are empathetic, you step in, you listen, you advise. You loan them money. You fix their problems, and it feels like friendship. It feels like you are building a deep bond through shared struggle. But here is the test. What happens when you need them? What happens when you are the one in crisis? Suddenly they are unavailable. Suddenly they have their own problems. Or worse, they listen for 30 seconds and then immediately pivot the conversation back to themselves. Oh, that sounds hard. You know what is also hard? Let me tell you about my day. They cannot hold space for your pain because your pain does not serve them. You are not a friend. You are a resource. You are emotional labor. You are a free therapist, a free bank, a free cleanup crew. Machiavelli would tell you to distance yourself from the perpetually unlucky, not because you lack compassion, but because their chaos is contagious. Because the time and energy you spend managing their disasters is time and energy you are not spending building your own life. And in the game of power, in the game of survival, your energy is your most valuable asset. If someone is draining it without ever replenishing it, they are stealing from you. And you are letting them. The third archetype is the most dangerous. This is the subtle saboteur, the underminer, the whisperer. This person does not attack you openly. They do not argue with you. They do not insult you to your face. Instead, they use plausible deniability. They use the backhanded compliment. Great job on that presentation. I am surprised you managed to pull it off given how stressed you have been. Did you catch it? They complimented the result, but planted a seed of doubt about your stability. They made you sound fragile, unreliable, or they share your secrets disguised as concern. I'm really worried about Sarah. She's been struggling lately. I hope she is okay. They are not worried. They are broadcasting your vulnerability to the group. They are shaping the narrative. They are conditioning others to see you as weak, as unstable, as someone who cannot be trusted with responsibility. And they do it with a concerned expression. They do it with a soft voice. So, if you confront them, they can say, I was just trying to help. I care about you. You are being paranoid. This is psychological warfare, and most people do not even realize it is happening until the damage is done, until their reputation is quietly shredded, until opportunities stop coming, until they are isolated and they do not understand why. Machiavelli knew that reputation is everything. The saboteur knows this too. They are not trying to destroy you in a single blow. They are eroding you, one comment at a time, one raised eyebrow at a time, one strategic silence at a time. So now that you know the archetypes, how do you identify them in your own life? How do you separate the real from the fake before it is too late? You run tests, not confrontational tests, not dramatic call-outs, quiet tests, strategic tests, tests that reveal the truths without ever alerting the other person that they are being evaluated. Here's the first test, the good news test. Most people think you test a friend by sharing your problems, by seeing who shows up when you are down. That is a weak test, because pity is easy. Seeing you suffer does not threaten anyone. In fact, it can make them feel better about their own life. It feeds their sense of superiority. If you want to see someone's true face, tell them your best news. Tell them you got the promotion. Tell them you are in love. Tell them you just closed a major deal. Tell them something that represents a significant win for you, and then watch their eyes, not their words. Their eyes. For a fraction of a second before the social programming kicks in, before they remember to smile, you will see the truth. You will see a flicker of something cold, a tightening around the mouth, a deadness. Then the mask snaps back into place. Oh my God, that is amazing. I am so happy for you. But the energy is wrong. The tone is forced. Well, they immediately follow up with a qualifier. That is great, but are you sure you are ready for that level of responsibility? Wow, I hope this one does not break your heart like the last one did. They cannot let you have the moment. They have to puncture it. They have to introduce doubt, because your unqualified success is painful to them. It makes them feel smaller, and they need to restore the balance by reminding you and themselves that you are not that special. A real friend can celebrate your win without caveats. A real friend feels genuine joy because your success does not threaten theirs. If someone cannot do that, they are not your friend. They are your competitor, and you should treat them accordingly. The second test is the information diet. Fake friends traffic in information. They collect details about your life, your plans, your fears, your secrets. Not because they care, but because information is leverage. It gives them a sense of control. It gives them something to trade. Stop feeding them. Go on an information diet. Be polite. Be pleasant. But be vague. How's work? Fine. Busy. What are you working on? Just the usual stuff. Nothing exciting. How is your relationship? Good. Steady. Watch what happens. A real friend respects your privacy. They do not pry. They trust that you will share what you want to share when you are ready. A fake friend gets anxious. They feel the loss of control. They start pushing. Come on, you could tell me. Why are you being so secretive? Do not you trust me? This is manipulation. They are trying to guilt you into opening up, because your silence disrupts their access. It disrupts their ability to monitor you, to gossip about you, to use your information for their own purposes. If someone gets angry or hurt when you become more private, that tells you everything. They were not respecting your boundaries, they were harvesting you. And now that the harvest is stopped, they are revealing their true motive. The third test is the simplest and the most brutal. Say no. That is it. Decline a request. They ask for a favor. They ask to borrow money. They ask for your time. And you say, I cannot do that right now. I am not available. A real friend accepts this. They might be disappointed, but they respect your boundary. They understand that you have your own life, your own limits. A fake friend reacts as if you have betrayed them. After everything I have done for you, I thought we were closer than that. I guess I know where I stand now. This is emotional blackmail. They are trying to make you feel guilty for having boundaries, because in their mind the relationship is transactional. They did things for you not out of genuine care, but as an investment, and now they are calling in the debt. If a relationship cannot survive a no, it was never a relationship. It was a usage agreement, and you just violated the terms. Once you have run these tests, once you have gathered the data, you will know. You will know who is real and who is performing, and this is where most people make a critical mistake. They get emotional, they get angry, they confront, they cut the person off dramatically. They post cryptic messages on social media. They tell mutual friends what happened. This is amateur behavior. This is letting your emotions dictate your strategy, and it always backfires. Because when you confront a fake friend, when you accuse them, you give them a narrative. You give them the opportunity to play the victim. I do not know what happened. I was just trying to be a good friend and they attacked me. I think they are going through something. Suddenly you look unstable. You look paranoid. You look like the problem, and they walk away with their reputation intact while yours is damaged. Machiavelli would never recommend this approach. He would tell you that if you must neutralize a threat, do it in such a way that the threat does not even realize it is being neutralized. Do it quietly. Do it gradually. Do it without drama. This is the art of the strategic fade. You do not cut them off. You simply become less available. You respond slower. You share less. You decline invitations more often. You are always polite, always friendly. But the intimacy drains away. The access closes, and they drift out of your inner circle without ever understanding why. This requires discipline. It requires you to manage your own emotions, to smile at someone you now see clearly, to maintain the surface-level pleasantness while internally reclassifying them from ally to neutral or even threat. It feels cold, it feels calculating, but the alternative is to be repeatedly hurt by people you refuse to see clearly. The alternative is to keep getting stabbed by the same knife because you insist on believing it is a flower. There is another layer to this, a deeper, more uncomfortable truth. We have spent all this time talking about them, the flatterers, the crisis magnets, the saboteurs, but Machiavelli would ask you to look in the mirror. Why did you let them in? Why did you ignore the signs? Why did you tolerate behavior that, in hindsight, was obviously problematic? The answer is usually this: you needed something from them. You needed validation. You needed to feel important. You needed to feel like a savior. You needed to not be alone. And that need, that vulnerability, that wound is what they exploited. A parasite cannot attach to a healthy host. They attach to the wound. If you want to become truly immune to fake friends, you have to heal the part of you that attracts them. If you need external validation, you will always be vulnerable to flatterers. If you need to feel needed, you will always attract crisis magnets. If you are insecure about your position, you will always be a target for saboteurs. The ultimate Machiavellian move is not to outmaneuver others. It is to become so internally solid, so self-sufficient, so clear about your own value, that manipulative people simply cannot get a foothold. They try to flatter you and it slides off because you do not need their approval. They try to create drama and you do not engage because you do not need to be their hero. They try to undermine you and it does not land because you are not looking to them for validation. This is the final level. This is where you stop playing defense and start playing a different game entirely. You become the person who cannot be played. Not because you are paranoid, not because you trust no one, but because you trust yourself. You trust your perception. You trust your boundaries. You trust that you can handle being alone if that is what integrity requires. Machiavelli spent years in exile, stripped of power, banned from the city he loved, and in that isolation he wrote The Prince. He wrote the discourses. He became immortal. Solitude is not a punishment. Solitude is a filter. It removes everyone who is only there for what you could give them. And what remains, if anything remains, is real. Most people are terrified of this. They would rather keep fake friends than face the possibility of being alone. They would rather tolerate betrayal than confront the void. But the void is not empty. The void is clarity. The void is where you meet yourself. And if you cannot be alone with yourself, if you need constant noise and validation and distraction, then you are not free. You are dependent, and dependence is weakness. So here is what I want you to do. I want you to audit your circle, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with cold, clear eyes. Go through the people you call friends and ask yourself these questions. Do they celebrate my success without caveats? Do they respect my boundaries? Do they give as much as they take? Do they show up when it is inconvenient? Do they tell me the truth even when it is uncomfortable? If the answer is no, they are not your friend. They are a placeholder. They are filling space that should be reserved for someone real. And if that means your circle shrinks, good. A small circle of real allies is infinitely more valuable than a large crowd of fake ones. Quality over quantity. Depth over breadth. This is not about being antisocial. This is not about becoming cold or cruel. This is about being strategic with your trust. This is about recognizing that your time, your energy, your emotional bandwidth, these are finite resources. And every minute you spend on someone who does not value you is a minute stolen from someone who does, or from yourself. Machiavelli has been called cynical, he has been called evil, he has been misunderstood for 500 years. But what he actually was, what he actually offered, was clarity. He looked at human behavior without the comforting lies, without the Disney version. And he described what he saw. People act in their own interest. Power is not given, it is taken. Loyalty is rare. Betrayal is common. And a person who refuses to see this will be destroyed by it. You do not have to become a monster. You do not have to betray others. You do not have to manipulate or deceive. But you do have to see the world as it is. You have to accept that not everyone operates with the same moral code you do. You have to accept that. Some people will smile at you while sharpening the knife, and you have to decide that you will not be an easy target. This is not pessimism. This is realism. And realism is the foundation of power. Because once you see clearly, once you stop projecting your own goodness onto others, once you stop expecting people to be who you want them to be and start seeing them as they actually are, you gain an enormous advantage. You stop being surprised, you stop being hurt, you stop wasting energy on people who do not deserve it. And you start building a life, a circle, a fortress on solid ground. The people who belong in your life will prove it through their actions, not their words, not their promises. Their actions, consistent, reliable, uncomfortable actions. The friend who tells you the truth when it would be easier to lie. The friend who stays when you have nothing to offer. The friend who does not need you to fail in order to feel good about themselves. These people are rare. Protect them. Invest in them. Be loyal to them, because they are worth it. But everyone else, everyone who fails the tests, everyone who shows you through their behavior that they are not safe, let them go. Not with drama, not with anger. Just let them drift, let them fade, let them become part of your past. And do not mourn them, because you are not losing a friend. You are losing an illusion. And illusions, no matter how comforting, will always eventually shatter. Better to shatter them yourself on your terms before they shatter you. You are not here by accident. You are not watching this because you are paranoid or broken or damaged. You are here because you are waking up. You are here because you are tired of being blindsided. You are here because you understand that the world does not reward naivety. It punishes it. And you have decided that you will not be punished anymore. This is the beginning. This is where you stop drifting and start architecting. This is where you take control of who has access to you. This is where you become dangerous. Not in the sense of harming others, but in the sense of being someone who cannot be easily harmed. Someone who sees the game. Someone who plays it better. Welcome to the real world. It is colder here. It is harder here, but it is also clearer, and clarity in the end is the only true power. If you made it this far, you are ready for more. You are ready to go deeper. There are concepts I cannot share publicly. There are tactics that would get this video flagged or removed. There are layers of psychological warfare that require a different level of commitment to understand. If you want access to that, if you want the uncensored version, the advanced strategies, the things I only share with those who are serious, click the join button. Step into the inner circle. Most will not, and that is exactly the point.